Okay, I am so excited. Whew, I didn't think we were going to make this happen. That was tricky. Okay, but now we know if we can remember. But anyway, thank you so much. If you are coming on live, because actually I have no idea if anybody's here live because I'm worried about getting live, or if you're watching the replay, it's been a couple years, you all, that I have done this, and that was quite the feat. But we're on. I'm so excited. We're recording, I believe. Let me see. Let me double check. Oh, yeah. I'm recording. Okay, good. I'm so thrilled to be sharing with you about flow state manifesting. And flow state manifesting has been like a personal mission of mine. It's been, something really important that really helped me through some challenging times in entrepreneurship. So anyway, let me start from the beginning. I'm Princella Stringer, the Woopreneur, founder of the Woopreneur Collective. And I'm also the author of The Unified Way, Balancing Masculine and Feminine Energy as an Entrepreneur. And here we're here today to explore how to create results through flow, not force. Through flow, not force. So I'd like to just share a little bit about how this all started for me. How I came to writing my book, The Unified Way. And I'll share some more throughout these slides as well. But this work is about balancing the inner masculine and feminine. Okay. It's not about gender, right? Many of you may know this already, but just in case balancing masculine and feminine or masculine and feminine energy is new to you, it is not about gender. It is all about energy. And by the end of this training today, you will fully understand what I mean by masculine and feminine energy. But to put it in brief, one is structure and the other is surrender. That's one way. There are a multitude of ways to describe that. One is doing, and the other is going with the flow. Okay, so those are two examples of masculine and feminine energy. And today we are going to learn about flow state manifesting. Flow state manifesting to me is the dance that masculine and feminine energy do when they're working together in sync. They are flowing. One has doing energy and one has flowing energy. And when they come together, they're doing this beautiful dance of making things happen. We are here. I'm going to say it again. It's worth repeating. We are here to explore how to create results through flow, not force. All right. Next slide. Now I'm going to be talking about what we will be talking about today, what we'll explore. So today's agenda is about what flow state manifesting really means. You may not have heard this before because it is something that I created from my heart and my energy and my masculine and feminine flow. There are 3 pillars of manifesting with ease. We'll cover that next. And then we will have a live Q&A and mini coaching for those of you that come on live with me here today. And if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and put any questions that you want in there. And I will check that periodically to see if any questions pop up. All right. So, and then after we review what flow state manifesting really even is, what the 3 pillars are, and do some mini coaching and answer some Q&A questions, I'm going to extend an invitation to continue this journey with me through a couple of different opportunities. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you as well. All right. So first, let me tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about my story. Again, my name is Princella Stringer, and I used to believe success came from doing more. How did that even come to be? Because it was ingrained in us from a young age. It's in our work life. It's in our home life. It's even in play. In every area of life growing up in my generation, That is what we learned, that is how you get things done and that is how you do. But over time, I discovered alignment is actually what creates results. We cannot create something if we don't understand what's true to us, what we're good at, and what we can produce to do something with. And I'm going to talk all about that all throughout this training. The other part of my story is that when I found human design, and I'm curious to know if you're aware of human design. If you are, I would love for you to put a message in the chat on YouTube or in Zoom, and let me know if you are familiar with human design. I'd love for you to share what is your type, what is your blueprint, human design blueprint say about you. But human design gave me the language to explain what I'd been feeling for years. I always felt like the oddball because I was the emotional one. But not only was I the emotional one, but I was passionate. I was upset when I was deeply upset. When I was upset, I was deeply upset. And when I was excited, I was passionate and on fire and want to tell the world. And human design helped to give me a language for what I was feeling. And then it also taught me my unique energetic rhythm. To say in brief that understanding my energetic rhythm was really important so that I started making decisions that were aligned for me. And the last thing I want to share is that it also helped me to stop trying to fix myself. You guys, there's nothing to fix. You're not broken. I'm not broken. We're all just different, and we all have our own unique way, and we have our own unique energetic way as well. So when I stopped trying to fix myself, I was able to start flowing as myself. I'm not going to lie, it was a long journey. And it took until a few years ago where these puzzle pieces started coming together. And that is what I'm here to share with you today. All right. So what is flow state manifesting? What I've come to realize, and why the urgency, why I wanted to put this training program together to share with more people, is that we are entering a time in society, in the world, in the US, we're entering a time where more people are realizing that success isn't just about strategy. It is not just about strategy. It's about energy and emotion and alignment. Energy, emotion, alignment. It is about all three of those elements. And we're using them to evolve how we live and how we lead. The world is changing in how we live and how we lead. And it is really, really exciting. And I'm excited about the future for that reason. This is the era of the new human. And if you haven't heard that term before, I will talk about that shortly too. But this is the era of the new human, not new as in like a different species or like a different type of human being, but new in the way with being connected of our consciousness. Our consciousness as human beings are going to elevate. And either you're going to be on that bandwagon to elevate or you're not. And as the new human, as more and more people become more and more aware that this really is the better way, loving and kind to ourselves and loving and kind to others, and a higher consciousness where we're not taking things so personally, we will all be living a much, much better, happier life. And we're creating a much, much better future for future generations. So the other thing I want to say too is that flow state is about honoring where your clarity comes from. When I started honoring where my clarity comes from, everything changed. And for some of you, that clarity will show up in a full body yes or no. Like you're going to know in your whole body. My daughter's this way. She knows with her whole body if something is for her or it is not. And you may resonate that very strongly. This is called gut clarity. For others, it comes through talking through ideas. Like if you're someone that processes your information verbally, that is the way you make decisions. And if you're doing that and you're realizing how well that's working for you, keep doing it. This is the way you make decisions. And through that, you find the clarity. As far as talking through your ideas, talking through what you're trying to make a decision on, the only thing that I would add to that is that notice also where your emotions are with that as you're talking through. There may be a point where you feel the resonance in your body of a yes, no, or a maybe. And when we have that resonance, that means that we're noticing our emotions. So it's a part of the emotions as well. And sometimes you may just need to sleep on it, right? Human design calls all these different ways that I talked about as your authority. So my authority is an emotional authority. I need to ride my emotional wave before making a decision. So to me, this also is like a capsulized way of saying that this is your personal compass for your truth. And only you can hold your personal compass for your truth. No one else can hold that compass, only you. So tools like human design and astrology and even long accepted systems like Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram, these have been around for a while, right? But now people are starting to notice them and see them in a different light, in a different way, to use them as a guiding tool for life. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what is flow state manifesting. And you see my title here, The New Human Era, A Collective Awakening. You yourself may have been hearing about more and more people talking about awakenings, about expansion, about manifestation, about working on our inner self, doing the work. That is what the new human is all about. The new human is looking forward to doing the work. The new human is excited when or satisfied when they can talk about these ways of self-improvement and doing the work. They're excited to talk about that with other people. What I'm talking about right now is going to become a natural way of being. Awakening will become a natural way of being, and expansion will feel more and more natural as we learn the reality of the widespread viewpoint on this way of living and a whole different type of acceptance of this way of living. People are seeking meaning beyond matrix. They're seeking meaning beyond matrix. And that's what this course is all about. So I want you to let this information land as empowerment, because if you're someone that wanted to watch this training today and be involved in this training today, you're not alone, and you no longer have to feel alone. You can definitely feel empowered by this news and feel like it's going to be a whole new awakening, a whole new way of communicating with others. And you can also notice that you are already a part of this evolution by being here today. So, all right, so let's get into the 3 pillars of flow state manifesting. Now, I do want to step back just a little bit and explain how human design is a tool, and it gives a map for how our energy moves. And in my book, The Unified Way, I talk about how the energy moves throughout the body for decision making. And my book was mainly focused on my emotional authority. So if you have an emotional authority, I highly recommend that you get this book. The book explains how the energy moves through the body. So other parts of our body actually communicate to the heart, to the throat, to the head, to manifest, right? And understanding how that moves through the body helps us to realize that we don't make decisions from the mind. The mind has no business making decisions for us. And the sooner we can learn that, the better off we will be in our decision making. So, on that note, in regards to human design, some of us are here to respond, some are here to initiate, and they're like the delegators of the group, and some are here to guide others or to really reflect and notice what's going on as a whole. And so that is the section right here. Feel before you decide. For those of you with emotional wave, clarity comes from time, not pressure. In other words, if you're an emotional authority, if you know your human design, you know you're an emotional authority, I hope that you understand that pressure from other people on their timelines doesn't work for you. If you are feeling pressure to make a decision, you pause, step away from the situation, go for a walk, and contemplate how you feel before you make a decision. So for an emotional, you're going to wait for that emotional wave until you come to a decision within yourself that feels good to you. So that's pillar number 1. The second pillar is to learn to honor your natural rhythm. Notice what lights you up versus what drains you. So in many of our lives, we have things that light us up and we have things that drain us. So let's use the typical 9-to-5 scenario where you're working at a organization where you're working 9 to 5 and probably sometimes more than that. And it takes all your energy to muster to go to work. You end up with back pain, migraines, neck pain, tension, disease, maybe even sometimes. And you are realizing that you have to do that. Why? To pay the bills. Maybe you're the breadwinner. Maybe you have a child or children. Maybe you just have pets. And to be able to provide for yourself and for your loved ones, you must do this job. So what I'm going to be teaching you is how to look at the must-dos until we can get to the place of doing what we really, really love, right? So learning to honor your natural rhythm, that's a big part of flow state manifesting. And then the third pillar is bringing your intuition and your structure together. This is where we really pull in the balance of the masculine and feminine. This is the structure and the intuition, pulling those together. Flow isn't about waiting, and it's about responding to what's in alignment. There were days when I was noticing that my way, since that's things that I had to do that were outside of my natural rhythm, were draining me, and I would have to take a nap or go to bed early or stay in bed later. I used to feel really, really guilty about those things. And I'm sure that you've been in that boat as well, that we start feeling guilty about things that we need so that we can balance our energy and regulate our energy again. And I'm going to be showing you ways that you are going to be able to balance your energy. So flow happens when you trust your natural pace of, instead of following something that does not fit you. When something does not fit you, you're drained. When you know how to follow your natural pace, you have flow and you can find your rhythm. So what design of success has been drilled into you? What are the things that you've been told in the past are what make a person successful? To make a person find a better quality of life. If you're in America, we say the American way, right? The American way is to work hard, work for a good company, get that retirement and that pension, right? Times are changing. So what if you are actually designed for success already? What if you don't have to force? What if you don't have to push through things that you don't want to do, that drain you? And we'll talk about what to do in the meantime. And my offer that I talk about in the end is the Woopreneur Collective, a community of coming together so that whatever comes up for you in your day to day, that we can talk about them and address them. Where do we go from here when I must live a certain way to satisfy the responsibilities that I have, right? So think about what you would like your design for success to be, and what have you been taught the design for success is, the way of being for success is. What have you been taught, and what would you like it to be? So just keep that on the side for now, and we'll revisit that later. Now, I talked earlier about the new human, and I had mentioned that I couldn't wait to be able to share this information because now matters. Now is the time to be learning how to get in flow, how to live in alignment. And there is a huge shift in consciousness happening right now. And if you're not aware of this, it's very simply human beings being kinder and more loving to other human beings. Because when we live in that way, we are in alignment. We have good things that come to us. We can share good things and give good things, and people will share and give good things to us as well. More people are opening to the new way of understanding themselves. This isn't new, though. It's remembering, because when you were born, an itty bitty baby, right, you were curious, you were courageous, and you were strong. How many times have you let a baby hold your finger and you're like, wow, they are really strong. We have all of these good, strong, wise attributes from infancy. And when we're not supported to nurture that, when we're not supported by others in a way that nurtures that, I should say, we forget what really does feel good, and we forget what we know. And don't take this the wrong way, because I was a parent before coming into this understanding of myself and finding my alignment. I absolutely could have been a better mom. Even the most conscious individual probably could be a better human and a better parent, right? So this is a part of our past where not our parents, but any parents, if you're going to be a future parent, you're going to want to do the best you can for that child. And so we make decisions thinking that I learned this, so this is what I have to teach my child. I did that and it worked out great, so this is what I have to teach my child. I did this and it did not work out so great, so that's what I have to teach my child and my loved ones. But the future human, the new human, a conscious person, a woke person, is helping and guiding and grooming our loved ones to find their own path and their own way of doing things that are correct for them. So I found this really interesting. The Enneagram, from the Enneagram to Myers-Briggs and everything else in between, as far as personality tests go, and human design, obviously, have been around for a while now, and they are frameworks for self-awareness, right? So bear with me here. The difference now is that we're integrating them into how we lead, how we love, how we live, right? So if you're into any of these modalities, you know that you've found out what you were, right? And what I have learned is that many of these modalities have commonalities as far as their output. What they say about your personality and who you are and how you behave will cross over in these different modalities. So now that we're integrating them into our life and our business and how we lead and how we love and how we live, we'll be able to have more fun with it and share it with others. This moment in history invites us to embody what we know, not just have it be our little secret. Like in Myers-Briggs, one of my top traits was ideation. Well, I don't have to hide my ideas anymore for fear of them not being accepted or someone thinking that they're not smart ideas. You don't have to look at your Enneagram and keep it to your own secret. You can find out what are my attributes and talk about it. So this will be something that we'll be able to do more freely in the future. So what we're also moving from is from knowledge, which is what Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, even human design gives a lot of knowledge and tells us a lot of things about our personality and who we are and our goals even, right? But we're moving from that knowledge into a phase of embodiment. Have you heard that term before? If you've heard that term before, I would love to hear what you think that word means. Okay. I'm not going to be able to see the answers that you put in there, but what do you think it means? What does embodiment mean? And have you heard the word embodiment before? I'd love to know. So, in other words, we're moving from knowing to being, information to embodiment, right? Knowing to being, information to embodiment. So, another question I have for you is, what have you always sensed about yourself that you are now ready to trust? So, what did you learn about yourself in your human design? What did you learn about yourself in Myers-Briggs that you hadn't owned? Maybe you didn't believe some of the giftings that one of these assessments taught you about yourself, right? But you want to. You were happy and excited to see that that was a gifting of yours, but you weren't living it out. You want to. So what are you now ready to start trusting? So for me, some personal examples, I would say that for a long time, I did not trust my decision making. And so this is a really great example if you're an emotional person. And even you can even apply this to any other, like if you have a gut feeling, or if you have to talk it out, or if you have a knowing on your decision, right? Some people make a decision and they're like, well, how did you come to that decision? And you're like, I don't know. I just know. Right. So for me as an emotional, I need to learn to ride the wave before I make a decision. So for a long time, I didn't trust my decisions because I would make decisions based off of my excitement level. Like if I was really happy and excited, well, that must mean that was a sign from God. And so surely I have to do that. I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10, it was not the right decision. And so now I have learned to trust my decision making because I wait. Bigger decisions I may need to sleep on. Bigger decisions I need to maybe wait a week or a month before I make a decision. Smaller decisions, maybe I just need a moment to just sit quiet. Maybe I need a day. If I can wait a day before answering, I will wait a day. And then when I wait, then I seek clarity. I ask myself again, do I still want this? Am I still excited about this? Is it still a yes? And then I make my decision off of that. So I am now at a place where I can trust my emotions to be a part of my decision making. So let me know if you're an emotional. I would love to know if you're an emotional authority in human design. If you haven't checked out human design, I will be sending a link to get your human design chart. It's a free software that you can look up your human design. And when I see you in the Whoop and Air Collective, we can talk about it. All right. The other thing that I noticed too is that all of these awarenesses of things that we know about ourselves and now we're ready to trust. If you could honestly say, okay, I am ready to trust that that is a gifting of mine, or I am ready to trust that it is in my future that I'll be speaking on stages one day or leading a class, right? That is evidence of expansion. Okay. That is evidence of expansion. And all right, let's go ahead and go to our next slide here. So I have an interactive exercise for you, and it's really important that you also put in the chat what your experience is. Did you do the exercise and what were the outcomes of it? Okay. So right now, I would just ask you to just close your eyes and breathe deeply. By breathing deeply, you're going to breathe in through your nose and allow your belly to expand. So you allow your belly to expand. And then you push out that breath by pushing your belly in, and that could be either through the nose or the mouth. You'll do that a couple of times and take your time. You can either sit with your eyes closed or open and breathe deeply about 5 times. Taking your time and relax. And in that, you may feel your shoulders drop down a couple notches. You may feel the muscles in your arms relax with every breath that you're taking, allowing yourself to breathe deeply and release deeply. And as you're wrapping up your deep breaths, I'm going to ask you this question and just allow the answer to come to you. Where am I pushing instead of allowing? Where am I pushing instead of allowing? Now, a big clue that you're going into your head is that maybe you think of the answer and you start judging yourself. Maybe you think of an answer and you're like, oh, no, actually, it's not that, it's this. You're in your head, okay? So if that's the case, just take a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more deep breaths and then go back into where am I pushing instead of allowing? If you're someone who would do well by moving and movement, you're more a kinesthetic learner or processor, just stretch your arms, stretch your legs, or just sway gently. Sometimes I like to do that. Just sway back and forth gently as you breathe and as you contemplate this question. Where am I pushing instead of allowing? If you're a visual, imagine the golden light entering into your body with each breath. Imagine the golden light in your mind's eye as you're contemplating. Now, what you're doing now is you're putting yourself in a place of awareness. Awareness is the first act. It's the first piece of evidence of healing. This simple exercise will walk you toward healing from something that you're pushing versus just allowing. When we're trying to push people to get involved, push our way into something, this is because this is a place of healing, a place that we need to connect with some reconciliation, right? Maybe for some of you, it's certainly happened to me that my emotions started to surface as I'm processing this answer, as I'm journaling. That's good. It's a really, really good sign. That means that the energy is moving through you, and this is a very good sign. Some of you may need to take longer, and some of you have already written down a couple of different things that you're pushing, or you wrote one and you're just waiting for me to get on with the next phase of the presentation here. So if you're someone that needs to take a little bit longer, it's fine. Notice how your body already knows the way back to ease. As you're doing this exercise and you're writing down those things, what am I pushing instead of allowing? What did your body do? I can bet that it probably relaxed just a little bit. We're always talking about sitting up straight, shoulders back. Posture is not that important with allowing and releasing, okay? Just release, let it go. All right. Now, just hold on to that and allow that to be some of the work, and it will be something that you'll carry through. And so the next time that you're faced with that situation, just notice, how did you respond? Did you respond differently? Maybe you chose to invite someone else in on the decision so that you're not the only one. Maybe you decided to delegate and have someone else do this thing that you're pushing instead of being the one that's forcing, right? Yeah. So think about how that will show up in your world. So what you felt is your energy speaking. That's what you felt in this exercise. That was a moment of integration. So a part of the healing process, a part of doing the inner work, is to reflect on what just happened. The all masculine way is to be like, check, okay, I'm done. What's the next exercise that we have to do? How can I get through this? What's the next thing? No. With this inner work, with integration, we're going to pause and reflect. So let's ask this fun question for journaling or with just reflection. You don't have to write anything down. You can just think about it, right? What does flow want to create through me next? Just ask yourself that. What does flow want me to create next? In my book, The Unified Way, I say our emotions are messengers. They are not obstacles. Whether you're an emotional or a different type of authority in human design, it doesn't matter. You still have emotions and you have feelings. They'll just show up differently. Maybe you keep them inside, or maybe you think about them and then you don't express it outwardly, right? When you feel safe to listen to your emotions, you reconnect to your natural guidance system. I feel like the term emotions or emotional have a negative connotation with a majority of people in the world. But when we can look at our emotions as the natural way to reconnect with our inner guidance system, that turns a whole different meaning to emotion and emotional, right? So I hope you can see that. And if this is something that you can see, I hope that you'll let me know in the chat and let me know in whatever platform you're watching this on. I would love to know if you resonate with that. Has this shifted anything within you in regards to your emotions? Has it shifted your belief system, if it's a positive thing or a negative thing? If you just gave it a try, pretended to believe that your emotions are actually a positive thing that help you reconnect to your inner guidance system, what would that do for you? In other words, most of us grew up with someone telling us what to do, how to do it, who to model, get a mentor. This is how you make decisions. Use your resources. Ask your boss. Ask your parent. How many of us were already taught to use our own emotions and body compass to make decisions? How many of us were taught that? Imagine a world where we are taught to live through our own inner compass on what is right and correct for us, because no one else can guide or hold your compass. Only you do. Only you can. So imagine a world where you can feel confident about making your own decisions, where you feel assured. And if someone else were to say, no, you shouldn't do that, you should do this, how would it feel, or what kind of world would we live in where we could say, no, that's not right for me. That does not feel good to me. I'm going to do this. I get why you want to do it, but that's not for me. Right? Doesn't that automatically make you feel lighter and more abundant? I feel it. So yes. So anyway, I can't wait to hear how these exercises worked for you. How this contemplation on the integration of noticing your emotions and your feelings and your answers, right? So now, if you have any questions, I would love to know. If you have any thoughts, I would love for you to put that in the chat and let us know what you are thinking about the exercises that we did today and what I have shared with you today about flow state manifesting. What I have shared with you today is the foundational piece of allowing ourselves to get to a flow state, which means that we're making decisions that are correctly aligned for us. And I believe, I always like to tell people that I am not a manifestation coach. I am a life coach, because I believe that when we are at a state of manifesting and our goods are coming back to us because we thought it, we wanted it, we put it out there that we want it to come to us, and then we are able to receive it. Manifesting is the truest form of who we are. That is evidence that we are living by who we are meant to be. We can be ourselves. That means we can manifest anything. If you are at the place of manifesting, if you've always said, I am such a good manifester, right? And you have all these good things coming to you, you have the foundational makings of being yourself in any situation. Another thing I like to say is that the way we do one thing is the way that we do everything. And so if you're already a good manifester, but are unhappy in other areas of life, then we just need to bring your way of being and your state of manifesting into other areas of life. And if you are someone that has never felt confident with manifesting and you always think that bad things come to you, think about the good things that you do have come to you. Why did they come to you? Were you doing something that you love? Were you wishing for that? And when you were wishing for it, you were feeling really good in your body, and then it came to you. But then other areas of your life, you're unable to manifest good things and good happenings in your life. So the way we do one thing in something is the way we do in everything. And that is one of the keys to flow state manifesting. So I have a couple of questions here that I know people ask very commonly. And so I'm going to go ahead and scroll to that. And as you're looking at what you've learned today, I want you to also consider many people fall into the trap of perfectionism. And so one little key trick to get out of the state of perfectionism is just to meet everything with curiosity. And that's how I want you to consider flow state manifesting. If you're at all curious about how flow state manifesting can actually help you, stay in that curiosity zone. Stay in that curiosity zone and see where that takes you. If you are watching on the replay, I absolutely invite you to send all of your comments, questions, and responses to me on any of the emails that were sent to you about this training. You can go ahead and reply to that and let me know what you came up with in the exercise. All right. So the top questions that I have that people have been asking is, how can I stay in flow with deadlines, right? This is really important because it has been ingrained in us that when we have a deadline, we must meet that deadline. When someone else gives us a deadline, we've got to meet that deadline no matter what, because that was our word. That's what we promised. We must be a person of our word, right? So there was a time in one of my coaching, with one of my coaching clients, where she had talked about how the stress that she was feeling with a deadline that she had. And instead of communicating this stress or seeing if there were other ways or seeing why it was stressful within her body, she chose to sit in the stress of the deadline, sit in the stress of the work, right? So that is what poses the challenge. This is the challenge. When we're sitting in the angst of the stress, the physical manifestation of worry, our lower back starts hurting, we get a headache, a tension in our shoulders start tightening, right? Our muscles in our shoulders start tightening. So the way to stay in flow with deadlines is to take a step back and evaluate as early as you can in the process of a deadline. You have a commitment that you are committed to that you have to keep. There's no one else to delegate it to, so we're finding out, is it mine? Is it actually mine to do? Is it my project to do, or is somebody else better suited? Do I have to own this, right? So that's the first step. Do I have to own this? Is it mine? If it isn't, if it's not yours, then we need to have the courage to go have that conversation, right? And that's a whole other training. And these are the types of things that you could bring into the Woopreneur Collective, so we can talk about that. And then the next thing we're going to look at is, as early in the process of the deadline, as soon as we know that there is a deadline, we want to think about, how do I work? How can I set my workplace environment to be what I need it to be so that I can work toward that deadline? So, do I have the things around me that I need? Do I have music? Did I take time to meditate if I needed to? When I start feeling stressed, what do? I can go for a walk. I can get some food in my stomach. I can talk to someone. And these are elements that you can find in your human design and what would help you to feel better as well. So if you're curious about that, I would love to hear if you'd like to know more about your human design. But actually, this whole training is, infused with human design. But if you notice, a lot of my conversation is just common everyday understandings and knowings that we have about life and ourselves. So to stay in flow with deadlines, we must know if it's ours. How do we set up our workspace? And then make sure that we pause, listen to our body, be attuned to where stresses come up. Chances are you can name the place in your body that gets tightened when you feel stressed out. But did you know that that stressed out tightening in your body is one of the last most obvious notifications that our body is giving us that we're stressed, that we're unhappy, and that we need to do something different? So peel back the layers of that. Understand yourself a little more. What happened before that had the signal that I was stressed? What thoughts did I have? When did I start feeling this? So if we look at those top three things, then we could start looking at flow with deadlines a little bit easier. Most important, was it mine? 7 or 8 times out of 10, it wasn't. You could have said no. You could have delegated. So let's make sure you kind of get that, whether you take the Woopreneur Collective program or not. Adapt that one simple thing, and it will change everything for you. All right. So as an emotional, this next question, I love answering, because they ask, what if I can't feel my emotions clearly? So we are human beings, so we all have emotions. The question is did we learn to continue to express them in a healthy way or in an unhealthy way? An unhealthy example of emotions would be suppressing your emotions. And you may have gotten to the point in life where you don't allow yourself to feel your emotions anymore. It isn't possible for me to give you an exercise right now to feel those emotions, because that would take some time with grooming. But one way that I would start is just to allow yourself to feel what you do feel. Maybe you're happy about something. That's an emotion. Maybe you got choked up. That's an emotion. That's blocked emotion right there. So all we have to do is, when we notice, if we can put a name to a feeling in the body or a thought, maybe someone says, well, that makes me sad. But they're really not showing any emotion. They're just like stating a fact, right? But once you can put a different type of description or language or pinpointing something in your body, start to honor that. Right? So say you get choked up and you get a lump in your throat. Hold that space. Maybe you need to go be in private and go in the bathroom or go into another room and hold that space and honor that space of that choked up feeling in your throat. Simply saying, I feel you. I feel you there. I feel you choked up. Thank you for telling me that you're feeling something. Now, what do you want me to know? The first couple of times of doing that is going to feel a little strange, okay? But the more you do it, the more you get in tune with your body. Okay, so next question. Does this work if I'm skeptical about manifesting? So manifesting doesn't have to be called manifesting. Maybe you just say, everything I want, I just get it. When I want to make something happen, it happens. You know, if that could sound very masculine, but there's a very, very light, happy way of presenting that when I want something, I get it. And it's great, right? So the term manifesting may have different connotations for different people. So you actually don't have to be a believer of manifesting to be able to manifest. And if you're someone that has been able to make things happen and it's for the greater good of people, you are manifesting. I hate to tell you that, but that is what you're doing. So you don't have to be a believer in manifesting, just a believer in yourself. If you believe yourself that you can do good and you can achieve goals that are for the good of others, then you are manifesting. The only thing that you may manifest that is not for the good would be something that you manifest to yourself that is a negative. So say, for instance, if you're getting ready to go in your car and you're headed to work or headed to the grocery store and you're like, man, every time I go at this time, I get into all this traffic. The roads are all backed up, and every single time. Then you go to the roads and sure enough, they are backed up. Guess what? You manifested that. So when we're open, when we say, I'm going to go, this is going to be the first time that I go and the roads are clear. I'm happy on my drive. I can enjoy the sun. I'm going to put my top down or put my windows down and enjoy the sun. You will automatically find a route that goes around that traffic that was sitting there versus being the person sitting in the angst about the traffic. You're expecting that traffic, so you drive right to that traffic. You're not priming yourself for an openness to receive a different path, right? So that's a nuanced detail of manifesting. That is still manifesting. All right. And then the last question here is, how do I maintain energy when results are slow? This is such a good opportunity to learn, why are things slow? to learn, how do I feel in this slow state, right? So what happens is there could be a multitude of reasons why things are going slow. I am a prime example of this because I have been training to be a coach and working with people for 10 years. 10 years. Many, many, many years, or spans of time, I should say. I didn't have any clients. Many years I was volunteering, and I still volunteer coach. I love doing it. But I wasn't creating the income that I wanted to create, right? And that was because I still had work to do within myself, and only I could choose to do the work. Once I decided to do the work on myself and stop suppressing feelings I had about something that made me unhappy, about making decisions from a high level or a really low level, doing things that I knew were not correct for me, staying in a job that I was miserable. Toward the end of the job, I was able to pull myself to a state to see the good in it. And then I was let go. I think that's the most ironic manifestation I've ever had. So how do you maintain your energy when the results are slow? Just as the example that I gave a moment ago, working at a job that I was just absolutely miserable in, I chose to start looking at what were the good things about this job. I started turning to my coworkers more and doing more things with them and having different kinds of conversations instead of my frustration conversations, trying to be a more positive person and have a more positive outlook in the situation that I was in. So that is what we do, because that energy is moving slow for a reason. There's a lesson to be learned. There's a thing that we've got to become more aware of. There are things that we must do in order to be ready for that manifestation to happen in its correct form. Maybe you are thinking of something that you're idolizing for a different reason. Maybe someone else has it and you're idolizing it. So maybe all of a sudden you come to terms with that isn't what I want. I want this instead. I don't want that huge mansion. I want this cozy little apartment by the ocean, right? And then it manifests because we've started redirecting to what's true to us. So if you ever feel like your energy is slow, or your energy is feeling drained, or you have a lack of focus, or you feel foggy-headed, and you're trying to achieve a goal, take a look at all of these elements and find out why. What is the lesson that I must learn? So I hope that was helpful. And if it is, please do tell me which one of those was helpful, and even share an example of how it helped you. All right. So I want to share with you now about the Woopreneur Collective. First thing I want to say is this is not another course. It's a living container. I'm a big believer in real-time coaching, real-time conversations about what's happening in the now in life. It is a living container where I'm inviting you to come in and share in a safe container, in a container that you can get to know each other. And then when you feel comfortable, sharing what you have going on in your real world. And what we would be doing in the collective, we'll be working on live energetic alignment through a Zoom call where I will be leading that and coaching and training you for alignment. We'll have embodiment practices or meditations. So meditations and embodiment practices. The practices are exercises similar to what we did a moment ago, but if you get my book, The Unified Way, I have tons and tons of exercises in there to help you through certain elements that you're stuck in. And meditation. If you're not someone that feels confident in meditation, I can definitely teach you how. And not everyone's meditation style or method works for everyone, right? This person may have a way of meditating, meditation walking, or just going to the woods, going into nature, And that is a form of meditation. Some people need to lay flat on their back or to sit up straight. Meditation looks different for everyone. And so I'd love to teach you that as well. And then we're also going to be doing peer co-creation and, of course, a discussion thread. So I will have a community for you to be able to communicate with each other and to share. Maybe you want to find an accountability partner. Maybe you want to find a peer that you just want to have conversations with. Or maybe you just want to post. You want to post what's going on for you and get some advice from anyone that's available. Energetically, it's a beautiful way. If you post something that you would like some support in, and you go to the chat or the community with the intention of getting support and giving support, it's a beautiful way to support each other. And then you'll also have a downloadable thing, say, the internet's not working that day and you really wanted to do some of these exercises, make sure you print or save in a document the reflection and journal prompts. And that will be a beautiful activity for you to do anytime. And as a bonus, if you are able to sign in with the Woopreneur Collective, you'll receive early access and discounts to future workshops that I'll be charging for, future retreats and advanced trainings. You will be the first to hear about them, number one, and you will also be getting the best price for that as well. So the other thing I want to share too, this container is really important to me that it is the way I've laid it out here, because I personally have spent thousands of dollars on programs and courses and coaching. Thousands of dollars. Some of you may have spent hundreds of dollars. Some of you have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a wide range of possibility with courses and coaches. And this container is really important to me, that we put together a container where you have the real world support that you need and you have training opportunities. This is a beta course. This is a beta right now, and that is the reason that the prices are so low. As you progress and move forward, you will be invited to some free trainings. Even I talked about some trainings that will be a workshop, but I am a believer that if you invest a little bit of money into something, you're more susceptible to go. You're more committed to go, right? So this container was created as something that I wish that I had had. I wish that I had the opportunity to be able to do this. And I have multiple free trainings right now for you so that you can learn more about me and get to know who I am as a teacher, as a mentor, as a coach, as a peer, before you make any purchases of my programs. That's what I believe in. I believe in getting to know you better and you getting to know me better. So I want you to be able to practice what you've learned today through this training, and be able to practice it and to implement it into your daily life. When you do something in a training, we're not primed for, okay, how do we bring this into my day-to-day life? But that is what the Woopreneur Collective is for you to be able to practice bringing it in, pulling it in, bringing it in, being asked, hey, when did you use this? And can you share what you did when you did that? And this is over a 6-week time span, and that we would be working together. This is where we ground expanded awarenesses into everyday action, right? So today, maybe you had an epiphany about something as I was talking and sharing, right? And that what happens to those epiphanies sometimes? They stay in our head, we get excited, maybe we tell a person or two, and then it just kind of floats away. It's natural. But when you join a container where you can talk about it again, you can share more examples of how things happened in your life when you looked at manifesting differently, when you looked at planning with a deadline differently, then those instances will happen more and more. And so then it will become a way of being for you that feels great and feels aligned. So I invite you to join my 6-week beta. I would love to have you join the 6-week beta where we We'll be together every week. There will be something for you to join and participate in and work through so that you can develop your manifesting skills, develop your flow state, know who you are, what you love, and be able to live those out in your everyday life. I'm super excited. I really hope that you'll join me for that. So on that note, I want to share with you cost. So right now, the Woopreneur Collective, I have a monthly membership, a 6-month membership if you're into saving a little bit, which the prices here are unbelievable. And I'm so happy to share this with you right now. So if you can only afford to do $20 a month, you can pay that monthly on auto pay. You'll just pay that every month, and then you can get a whole month's worth of training. Clearly, weekly meetings for only $20 a month is an amazing, amazing offer. And the reason I'm doing it this low is because it is a beta. I've used these techniques with my clients, but I want to make a bigger impact and share this with more people because now is the time, as I shared with the collective expanding, with more and more people wanting to know how to implement these modalities and these behaviors into our lives. How do we do it? Who can we learn from? And I'm here to tell you that I can help you with that. And I'm excited that I'm creating my list of people that I am inviting to the container as guest speakers as well. So there's a monthly membership for $20 a month. And then there's a 6-month membership where if you pay $111, you get 6 months of membership. So for 6 months, you can go into the container, you can take a break and come back as long as you're within that 6 months, it will be available to you. Now, if you're someone that wants a whole year's worth, frankly, the journey takes time. So it depends on how far along you are in your journey. But if you feel like you're someone that wants to dedicate a year to this type of work, well worth it. The full year payment would be $222. And what I want to share with you too is that in 2026, these membership prices are going to go up. The monthly membership will be $444, and then a 6-month paid in full will be $2,400. Trust me when I say that if you do the math on what that equates to, even that is very, very reasonable. It's a wonderful price. But because it's a beta, I want to share this with you now. All right. And then for those of you that want one-on-one coaching, you're ready for deep accountability. You are ready for a transformation. You are ready for that. You've already done the courses. You've already been in other group memberships, and you are ready for one-to-one coaching. Now, coaches that are out there are paying upwards of or charging upwards of $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for one-to-one coaching. I have been coaching for 10 years. Some of that has been free coaching and some of them has been paid clients, right? And I have paid one-to-one coaching for thousands of dollars. So I'm offering this one-to-one mentorship option for those of you that are ready for deep accountability and ready for transformation. This is a private 3 to 6 month mentorship. And we integrate flow into life and business. So say you're working somewhere and you're trying to start up your own gig, your own thing, your own business. And you're having a hard time balancing the things. We're having a hard time with decision making. We're tired and foggy headed and losing our clarity. This is a wonderful opportunity if you are balancing and juggling those things. But maybe say you have a business and you feel like things are not working out the way you dreamed they would. Say you want to hire someone and you just don't know how that would flow, how that structure would flow. Say you just retired and you want to start a new thing. This would be a wonderful opportunity to do this 3 to 6 month mentorship program. So, because in this, we can start refining and looking at, what do I love? What do I wish I could do? What do I think I have to do? Who's in my court? Who's working against me? Who do I think is working against me, right? All of it's an illusion. So there are plenty of opportunities, plenty of people that are living a life that we're unhappy with or ready to make a change, that this is a perfect opportunity for. I have now also this link here. If you're not sure, I'm going to share another slide where I'll share a little bit more about what we'll be doing together. But if you want to just talk one-on-one, you can go to this link right here, which I will send you in the next email, and schedule a time to meet with me. As a matter of fact, for the Whoopreneur Collective, I have a link there as well if you just want to do a 30-minute complimentary call. But for the mentorship option, we need to spend a little more time. I have this link here for you, and then the other one is for the collective. Together, we'll build a structure that lets your natural rhythm lead to success. So my next slide here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this mentorship option. In that option, you'll receive a custom human design and numerology blueprint, a personalized energy in action workbook. This workbook will be geared specifically to your energy and how your energy moves through your body. And then you'll also have direct one-to-one support outside of the 6 sessions. We'll meet 6 times in the 3-month period if you choose the 3-month. If you choose the 6-month, we'll meet 12 times. But with this program, we'll meet, but then between those sessions, we will have direct one-to-one support so that as things come up, we are able to talk about them and address them and make decisions on them. The 6th session is $2,000 for a paid in full option. But if you want to do the 12 months, that is $4,000 for a paid in full option. And as you can see here, of course, the price will be going up in 2026, which will be a $2,500 paid in full for 6 sessions and a $4,500 12 session paid in full. I do want to note that right now during this beta, you'll have even more support, which is by joining the Whoopreneur Collective. And in that, we will be having weekly trainings every week, and you will already have access to that. If you get this one-to-one membership or mentorship option, you will be able to go into the Whoopreneur Collective and join those trainings as well. So I'm excited to present this to you. This is the best thing that you're going to find out there right now, especially with my one-to-one mentorship option. And all you have to do is just set an appointment with me so that we can talk about if you are a good candidate for the mentorship option or for the Whoopreneur Collective. All right. So again, if you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. And you can either send me an email or put a question in the YouTube or in Zoom so that I can get back to you with any questions that you had. Again, I'm encouraging curiosity as you're contemplating which option would be good for you. Really sit in curiosity. Like, what could happen if I joined in a month from now? You'll see results in a month. In 3 months from now, after finishing a full set together, what would change? What would I want to work on? What would I love to be able to have a support system around so I can make the right decision for me? If you're someone that knows your human design already, I'm sure you have a ton of questions about your human design chart, and I can help you with that as well. So I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this training session. And I hope that you learned tons. I'm going to go ahead and close. Let's see. How do I get my, okay. Yeah. So I'm so excited for you to join the Whoopreneur Collective. As you can see, I'm actually in my RV home. My husband and I, about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, manifested our dream life where we were able to buy an RV and travel across the US, which we absolutely love. We have family in the Midwest, and then we have family on the West Coast as well. And so we travel back and forth throughout the year, which we absolutely love. And we love being able to go anywhere that we want and just enjoy the environment. So I'm living proof that manifestation can happen. And I would love the opportunity to share with you how you can make your manifested dreams come true through flow state manifesting. So much blessings. And I hope to hear from you and learn more about you and what you would like to manifest. Bye-bye.